What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight, it is Thursday night, July 21st. We're going to have training camps start up next week, so we'll have some more news and blurbs and things like that going on for you next week. But in tonight's video, we're doing a live mock draft, 12-team mock draft, full PPR here on ESPN, and we're picking from the 8th spot. And you can see the 8th ranked player is Najee Harris, who I have as the thumbnail player for tonight. So we're going to try and stick to the thumbnail. If we can get Najee at 8, that's great. If not, we'll pivot and see what we can do. We got a handful of people in the mock draft with us too. And looks like our guy, Aiden Tobin, hope you're having a good night, sir. He's got the first overall pick. And then I know our guy Justin's sitting at the back here at 12. So we'll have some good action for you guys, and we'll throw out some good names. And there's a couple other people that I know in this mock as well. My friend Matt Bames sitting at pick 4. Should be a fun mock draft as, we're getting a lot of people to join the link, join the lobbies. And every Thursday night we'll be doing these mock drafts. So if you guys want to come hang out, I do post the lobby link 15 minutes before the video starts. That's when the fresh lobbies open up, 15 minutes before the start time. So I do post all the lobby links in there. So come back next Thursday. We'll be picking from the 9 spot. We'll see if we can make Devontae Adams our thumbnail guy. So the draft about to start right now. I'm going to turn my Matt Berry sound off, and we'll see what we can get starting at pick number 8. Again, 12-team full PPR mock here on ESPN, and we are about to start in 3, 2, 1. And yeah, Matt's going to be a sneak. Matt, you got to keep an eye on Matt Bain. Matt Bain's he's a slippery guy. He's going to be in the free league with us too. So if you are watching this and interested in joining a free fantasy fellowship league here, let me know in the comments, or you can email me at thefellowkgb. I'm just going to type my email in there. If you want to join our free ESPN Superflex League, just shoot me an email. I got a couple spots left, maybe one for sure, maybe another one. And dang, there goes Najee Harris at 3 overall. You see Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Najee Harris, number 3 overall. Matthew Bain takes Derrick Henry, and then you got Cooper Kupp, first receiver off the board. So it looks like I'm not going to get my thumbnail guy. I'm liking this though. There's 2 picks ahead of me, so I'm guaranteed one of Eckler, Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase. So it's looking like we're going to have to pivot here, and we'll see what we can do. There goes Justin Jefferson. So Eckler versus Chase. I don't really have a preference. I like both guys, and we're going to be referencing my draft kit, my projection numbers throughout the video tonight. And it looks like, I got Eckler as my 5th ranked player and Chase as my number 6th ranked player here. Let me go back to the league. And we're going to get Jamar Chase here. I don't know if I've done a draft with getting Jamar Chase first, but we'll go ahead and take the Bengal here. He is the top projected player on the board, and ESPN actually has him ranked 6. So we'll get the value there on pick number 6. And then we'll see what Justin does here at the turn. So can't complain. I was hoping to start with a running back. It seems like a lot of these mock drafts, I'm always taking wide receiver early to start the draft, and then we just pummel running backs later. But it is what it is. You got to collect the value. And again, if you're interested in getting access to my Google Sheets and my projections, fantasyfellowship.com, there's a link for the draft kit. There's a button there for you. It's just $15 this year, and you get access to which I'll be updating stuff tomorrow. I guess I have to log in, but you'll be getting, access to my big spreadsheet here, which has every team projected and a bunch of other gadgets in there, as well as cheat sheets, rankings, and whatnot. So I'm just going to star Jamar Chase here since we got him. Again, we're picking 8th, and I got my 6th ranked player. It looks like we're up on the board here. Justin went DeAndre Swift and Travis Kelce, so I love the Travis Kelce start there. Now we have, the access to Joe Mixon here. I don't love taking Joe Mixon. We already got Jamar Chase. Don't really want to pair a running back and a receiver on the same team. Fournette, Tyreek Hill, there's Javonte, James Conner, Aaron Jones. I'm going to lock in my guy Aaron Jones. I have very good feelings towards Aaron Jones this year. If I were to take somebody else, I suppose, some of these other players that make sense would be Mike Evans, but I'm going to stick with Aaron Jones. Let's take a peek and see where I have Aaron Jones ranked. He's my 14th overall player here. And I have Mike Evans ranked higher, so we could have went wide receiver. But yeah, I like what Justin did here at the turn. I think taking Travis Kelce is one of the biggest advantages you can get this year. So if you're picking in the 10, 11, 12 spot, man, I think you have to consider taking Travis Kelce with that first round pick. I just think with Kansas City losing Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce is going to be even more valuable to Patrick Mahomes and that offense. And I just, I don't think it's close. I think Mark Andrews is a good tight end. I don't think he's in the same, elite fantasy tier as Travis Kelce, though. I think Mark Andrews benefited from a lot of he had his best numbers without Lamar Jackson, which makes me nervous. And we'll wait and see where Leonard Fournette falls. He has been falling down the draft boards. You see, they have him ranked as the 16th player here. We're on pick number 21, and he's still not off the board. Cam Akers in the second round here, which is pretty crazy. But guys, I think I like at this, at the end of the second round, I'm beginning to fall into Javonte Williams. I think the Broncos are one of those teams you want to invest in. Matt Boehm gets Mike Evans, which is a hell of a pick. I think everything going on at Tampa Bay is just leaning towards Mike Evans having a big season. So yeah, if you're picking in the back end of the second round, Mike Evans an ideal target. I'm okay with Saquon Barkley. He looks pretty good as your RB2. Javonte Williams, James Conner. But some of these receivers I really like, whether it's T. Higgins. I'm a huge Michael Pittman guy, and we'll see if someone steals him before me at my 32 overall pick. But we're moving. There goes Leonard Fournette. So end of the second round, he's getting a little bit of a discount there, about 5-6 picks later than his ranking. And then yeah, Aiden grabs Javonte Williams. When I'm beginning to, if you get that first overall pick and you can get access to a guy like Javonte Williams as your RB2, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I have Javonte ranked as my 18th best player, right behind Joe Mixon, and I actually have him ahead of Saquon and ahead of a couple other running backs in that area. So I love what Aiden did there. He's got, let's take a look at his team real quick. Starts off with Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, and T. Higgins. So that's a pretty solid start there. Let's take a look and see what Team LB's got going on. He started with Derrick Henry and Mike Evans, so that's a ton of touchdowns. I'm thinking, well, Mike Evans has caught 14 and 13 touchdowns in the 2 seasons with Tom Brady. And what's scary is he hasn't even played a full season. I believe he's missed a handful of games in each seasons. And man, no Rob Gronkowski. Maybe Chris Godwin's going to play week 1, but he's not going to be 100%. So I think that's very, very interesting to me. Thoughts on Cordero Patterson this year? That's a good question. I think when his ADP is down here about 65, so that puts him in the 6th or the 7th round. I suppose if you needed someone in the 6th or 7th round to just fill out your RB2 spot, I get it. I'm going to prefer to stay away, though. I don't like the outlook for Atlanta, especially, Marcus Mariota, maybe Desmond Ridder steps in at some point this year. I think, if anything, if I want any piece in Atlanta, I'm okay with CPAT, but he's more of a guy that you want as like your RB3 or someone off your bench and kind of see what happens. I just don't know how long he's going to last for the full season. And yeah, Breece Hall. I guess I'll recap round 3 here. Aiden started off with T. Higgins, Ezekiel Elliott, good pick there. Breece Hall, round 3, pick 3. I think that's the earliest I've seen him go. I believe he's a 4th round value in terms of rankings. Matt Boehm gets Keenan Allen. There's Jalen Waddle, Nick Chubb, and we are almost on the clock here. And I'm looking at guys like James Conner. That's probably the best running back available. But for me, depends on what team Young goes here. But I really, really want Michael Pittman Jr. Let me move my rankings here. So I got Aaron Jones and Jamar Chase. So we're well balanced to start the draft. But man, if we go look at my numbers here, I have Michael Pittman Jr. as the 21st ranked player. I actually have Mike Williams ranked higher, who maybe we can get on the turnaround if he's still there. But man, if we can get Michael Pittman Jr., just keep in mind, Michael Pittman Jr. with Carson Wentz last year, I think he was like wide receiver 17, and that's kind of his floor. So I think he's a lock for a wide receiver too. I think he's a top 15 receiver, but with a guy like Matt Ryan, I think he's got a lot of potential. Could easily crash the top 10 and just be a guy that catches, 6, 7, balls per game and just leads their team in receiving touchdowns. So we'll lock in Pittman Jr. and we got some fun teams here. Aaron Jones, Jamar Chase, and Michael Pittman Jr. So let me go ahead and make Pittman Jr. green. And we got 3 of my top 21 guys. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. And yeah, my receiver rankings, I got Pittman Jr. as my wide receiver 9. So this seems everyone's not liking the Breece Hall that early. So this team Franklin ended up getting Breece at round 3, pick 3. And he's got 3 running backs. So he's got Najee, Saquon, and Breece Hall. So I suppose, as your RB3, Breece is going to look really, really good. And then there goes Justin stealing our big Mike Williams on us. Let's see what Justin's filling in here. So he's got DeAndre Swift, Mike Williams as his 1, and Travis Kelce. Let's see. He's got one more pick here to make. Mark Andrews is interesting. I like A.J. Brown, I think, at this point. A.J. Brown, 32 ranked overall. Getting a little bit of a discount on him. I don't mind that. Otherwise, this is a tough spot to be picking here. I think Mark Andrews sticks out, but you already got Kelce, A.J. Brown. I don't really trust some of these running backs in here quite this early. Maybe that's a Josh Allen, but I think he did the right decision. He went with AJ Brown. He's got two big boom receivers, Mike Williams and AJ Brown. We know AJ Brown, when he booms, it's going to be a big game. And this also lines Justin up to go and get Jalen Hurts for the stacking there in Philadelphia. So he's kind of the one Philadelphia non QB that I want to target, AJ Brown. So I like the move there. And yeah, I like Breece Hall, but everyone's just nervous about the Jets. And yeah, that was a tough turn. The round 3, round 4 turn is tough. Like, as I'm looking at it right now, I don't love anybody on this board. The one guy that I do love, though, is Courtland Sutton down here. He's probably my highest ranked player. We already got sniped on Mike Williams. I got 30 seconds here. I mean, Courtland Sutton's my wide receiver 10. And in my flex rankings, he's right here. So I'm going to stick to my rankings. I don't see any running backs that stick out to me as a value here. I'm going to get Russell Wilson's wide receiver 1. And everything that I have been looking into, I got a guy that I trust. His name is Cecil Lammey. He covers the Denver Broncos. He's been to the OTAs and training camps, and he said that him and Russell Wilson and Courtland Sutton, those guys are the clear buddy going on right now. So I'm going to take Sutton in the 4th round all day. And yeah, a little bit early for DK. I think DK, well, you're probably not going to get DK at the end of round 5, but DK Metcalf's becoming a good 5th round pick, I think, right now. And we'll see. Yeah, I'm taking Sutton over DK. It's just the healthiness of the Broncos offense. Again, if you can get Javonte Williams at the end of the 2nd, I think you got to do it. And the way things are shaping up right now is Courtland Sutton in the 4th round. I like even Jerry Jeudy in the 5th round, and then Russell Wilson. We'll see what happens with the quarterbacks, but there comes a point here pretty soon where all these quarterbacks are going to start looking really good. So far, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is still on the board. Justin Herbert's still on the board. There's going to be a point coming up here in the 5th and 6th round where quarterbacks start to look really good. Kyler Murray, man, Kyler Murray last year, before he had a little hiccup in the middle of the season. He missed a couple games here, but before that, you look at his numbers. Weeks 1 and 2, 33, 33, 18, 22, 13, 25, 21. I mean, I'll take a 13 every now and then if he's going to put up 33s and 22s. And then he missed a little bit of time in the middle of the year, but he came back fine. He's also got Marquise Brown now. We got DeAndre Hopkins coming back for reinforcement. So I'm interested in getting these quarterbacks, I think, in the 6th round, but we'll see. We'll see what I can do. Justin Herbert's, coming around here. I want to see what Aiden did with his first spot here. So he comes back with Darnell Mooney and Travis Etienne, both great picks. I think he hit those out of the park there, both great values. I'm on the board again. Gibson, Judy, Godwin, Cooper. Not a lot of guys that I'm loving in this range. This is actually really, really tough. I'm going to go ahead and get my quarterback out of the way. I'm going to take Kyler Murray. I know he's ranked a lot farther down the list, but he's a top 5 QB for me. And then I'm going to line up some potential, I think, in the next round. But this is a tough spot. I'm technically reaching on quarterback. So maybe I'll wait on that situation. Let's just go ahead and get Gabriel Davis out of here. Gabe Davis is an interesting guy. His end of the season last year was very interesting, especially the playoffs. But you see, kind of after the bye week, you see him more involved. And down the stretch, too, he's getting 8 targets, 7 targets, 14 targets. Just a guy that I can put on my bench and see what happens. Thoughts on D-Hop? It depends on where he's going. DeAndre Hopkins. All the way down here at 105, I'm taking Elijah Moore over Hopkins. I'm even taking Russell Gage, Chris Olave. So he would have to fall a little bit farther for me. I think there's just too many guys that I like on the board in his range right now that it doesn't make sense. But we're moving and grooving here into the 6th round. I'm almost up to pick again. It looks like A.J. Dillon. Justin goes and gets my guy, A.J. Dillon, which I probably was going to take with Aaron Jones, but that's a great pick either way. And I'm on the board again here. Amari Cooper staring at me. I already have 4 receivers. I kind of like Elijah Mitchell here. I know he's going to be productive for the 49ers, so I think that's where I'm going to land. And we'll go ahead and get my running back too. And I think Elijah Mitchell with a healthy Trey Lance, that could be a lot of fun. And just look at Mitchell, I know he doesn't have a lot of passing volume, but there's a couple games where he did catch 5 balls, but he's just a really safe guy. He's going to rack up, 20 touches per game, and we'll find some guys to add on the bench here. But I like getting the 49ers going to run the ball, so I can't ignore a good value there in the 6th round. But we're approaching the 7th round. I just want to see what our guy Matt Boehm is up to from the 4th spot there. He came back and got Josh Jacobs and Brandon Cooks. He's on the board here in another round or two. And yeah, so Mitchell as a running back too, I know he's going to get the ball a ton. I don't love him. I'm probably going to continue to draft some guys that I think will compete for him for my RB2 spot. But as far as where the board fell, I probably should have just taken my guy Kyler Murray because it looks like Team Franklin got him there. But I think I'm lining up my team. I'm lining up my team for a quarterback pretty soon here. And yeah, I like the balance of it. Aaron Jones, Elijah Mitchell. I know I'm going to get points there. Jamar Chase, Pittman, Sutton, and Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is the wild card. I think a lot of people are confused on him. I have him as like a top 30 wide receiver. Yeah, he's my 30th wide receiver, so I probably reached on him a little bit, but just for where he's going in the rankings, you got to get him there. Otherwise, you're not going to. You're not going to get him in the 7th round. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But as I'm approaching my 7th round pick, I just want to take a look at the QBs. Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson. I'm hoping Matt Boehm is probably going to go and get Jalen Hurts right now, but we'll see what he does. Gabe Davis is an interesting guy. I think if you can get him as your wide receiver 3, that's probably the best place to get him. And the ESPN settings, like they have me using Gabe Davis on my bench. All the leagues that I play in, I can start a 4th wide receiver technically as a flex. So I'm totally fine with Gabe Davis being in my flex spot if that's how it's going to be. That does not bother me at all. But I just want you to take a look at the 7th round. Look at the QBs on the board. Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson. I think that is kind of the sweet spot here. Round 7, I kind of wish I took Kyler Murray instead of Elijah Mitchell here, but that's not going to be the end of it. But I'm guaranteed Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow or Russ Wilson here, so I'm feeling pretty good. And either way, I can stack these guys. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I can have him naked, I guess, non-stacked. But Joe Burrow or Russell Wilson potentially with my receivers Jamar Chase and Courtland Sutton, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's take a look at the running back value. Singletary, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, Tony Pollard. I'm a big fan of all of these guys for sure. Let me look at the receivers available. Bateman, Kirk. Let me see here. I kind of feel like I have to take Jalen Hurts here. He's a top 5 QB for me. He is let's see here. He's my QB4. So I think that's the value right now. I could gamble and wait and see if I can find someone here at the 8th round. I don't trust I don't trust Justin though. He's going to be lining up that Jalen Hurts. So I'm going to go ahead and snag Jalen Hurts there and just put him at the top of my team. I'm getting essentially another running back with my guy here, but I have a good feeling about that Eagles offense. Let's take a peek here at Aiden's team. Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, I love that. Higgins, Mooney, ETN, and then Michael Thomas, which is an interesting dart, and then Robert Woods. So you got some veteran receivers here who could be moved up into the flex or the starting lineup for you. I like that a lot. I think so I know you already had ETN, but Christian Kirk or Rashad Bateman probably would have been a better pick for me, I think, over Robert Woods. Just more excited about their outlooks as the wide receiver 1 there. We'll take Bengals not making the playoffs. I think the Bengals will make the playoffs. Their offensive line got better. Their defense got better. I think there'd have to be an injury for them not to make the playoffs. I think they got better in almost every category. Another year of Burrow, another year of Chase, Higgins. Bengals might be tough to beat. I can see them, leaning on that running game a little bit more this year than they did in the past, but we'll see. Either way, I think Bengals are one of my locks for the playoffs. Defense is underrated. Defense is underrated for sure. New England's an interesting team as well. You have to just the way New England plays. They're made to play in the cold, and if you get them in the playoffs, they can be a sneaky team with that running game. But we're almost up to pick here. I kind of have everything but tight end so far. Gabe Davis chilling on the bench. I could get a guy like TJ Hawkinson. He's been a pretty good tight end for the Lions. He just never stays healthy. I think the guy that's sticking out to me right now, though, is probably Christian Kirk. Did Alan Lazard get taken yet? I like Lazard, but he's down the list a little bit. I think for me, if I'm going to take the best player on the board, it's probably Christian Kirk. I have him as like a top, 36 wide receiver, and I think Christian Kirk is what you're buying there is you're guaranteeing the leading target man for Trevor Lawrence. So that's what I'm going to go with here. And take a look at the QB still. Rodgers, Burrow, a lot of good options there. But we get Christian Kirk, the slot man for the Jacksonville Jags. Now we're 5 wide receivers deep, so I'm feeling pretty good at that position. We can maybe grab one more guy at the end of the draft, and now we'll probably pivot. Like I want to start collecting, some running backs, whether it's Edmonds or Penny. I like Cook. I like Nyheim Hines. Some of these guys would be some good picks for me. Again, we're good on receiver, but there's a lot of receivers I like. Whether it's the Jets receivers, I like Elijah Moore. Whoa, Matt Bain coming in here with the hot take. A better fantasy year than Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be close. I still think Aaron Rodgers throws for more yards. Aaron's touchdowns are probably coming down though, and it really depends if Matt Ryan's throwing double-digit interceptions. But that's a good observation. I think Matt Ryan's a sleeper to say the least. He's a guy that could look really good as your QB2. I think the Aaron Rodgers disrespect is getting a little out of hand. He's still a damn good quarterback. And even I saw a stat, even with they looked at the most passing touchdowns in the last 2 years, Aaron Rodgers ranks first, and that's with Devontae Adams. And then they removed Devontae's touchdowns, and Rodgers still ranked 9th. He had the 9th most passing touchdowns, and that did not include Devontae Adams' touchdowns. So I think Rodgers, you're getting a hell of a deal here on him. Like, what is this, the 9th round? But compared to some of the guys around him, you still have Derek Carr, you still have Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins. I think some of these guys might have higher ceilings. I'm not really digging the Matthew Stafford so much this year. I'm a little bit nervous about a Super Bowl letdown, but we'll see what happens. And there goes Allen Lazard. That's a great pick there, Aiden. Actually, I like the Lazard pick more than I like Robert Woods and maybe Michael Thomas. I think the best receiver for the Saints is still on the board. And I think Chris Olave has been one of my favorite guys. In a lot of the best ball leagues that I do, he's going in the top 100 of drafts right now. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Michael Thomas was put on the PUP list to start training camp. That's not to say he's going to stay there, for all of August, but it's just interesting to note that he's still not going to be participating so much in training camp quite yet. But we're having a good draft so far. I want to look at tight ends available here, see if anyone sticks out to me. I like Zach Ertz. That's one of my favorite tight ends to snag right now. I think Zach Ertz with Kyler Murray at the end of last year, you look at his last 4 games, 7 receptions, 8, 6, 5, high yards, no touchdowns. So if those touchdowns flow his way, you're looking at a really good value here in Zach Ertz. So he's one of my favorite guys to target here. And I guess if I'm going to be picking next here, I just missed Ertz. I missed Ertz. Olave should not be on the board. That's probably the one that I'm going to dive into, and then I'll see if I can find someone at 113 here. But I'm going RB heavy to the end of my drafts. Aaron Jones, Elijah Mitchell, those guys can hold down the fort for now, and then we'll just find some flyers there. And yeah, keep in mind, so like in a standard, in most of the leagues that I play in, I start 4 wide receivers. So I have Kirk on the bench, and then after this, we'll be done drafting wideouts. But Chris Olave is my guy. I would have went Zach Ertz there if he was available, but we'll find some tight ends here. Let me see if I like some guys doing down here. I'm doing an upside draft, Aiden says. Let's take a look here. And James Cook, dang it, he went. Aiden's got Lazard, and I like Tim. These are great picks, Lazard and Tim Patrick. I think those are very valuable receivers to put on your bench this season. And I was doing some digging. Aaron Rodgers is number 1 wide receiver. The lowest his number 1 wideout has finished in fantasy football is wide receiver 26. And then the second lowest would have been, I guess, wide receiver 30. In that same season, you had wide receiver 26 and wide receiver 30. So that's probably the range of outcomes for Allen Lazard to be a fringe top 30, top 36 wide receiver this year. So I've been moving him slowly up my draft boards. But so far, so good. Let me get back to my team here. As the board lays, there's nobody sticking out to me at the tight end position quite yet. I do like a guy like Knox, Fant, Komet. There's a lot of tight ends available here. And just look at the QBs available. God dang it. Lance, Cousins. Those are 2 really fun picks available. Don't sleep on Kirk Cousins. He was quarterback 11 last season. And now they're moving into a little bit more of a pass-happy offense approach. So I'm interested there. And at this point, I need some bangers at the running back position. So I do see some guys here that stick out to me. A couple good guys yet here. And yeah, I think this is probably the correct take. Be patient on QB. I mean, Derek Carr went round 9, pick 6. That's a great spot there. Matthew Stafford round 9, pick 11. Aaron Rodgers round 9, pick 3. So like you could you could wait until the 9th or 10th round and just see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and collect Nyheim Hines, and this is kind of a play on what Matt Bain said here about Matt Ryan. Underrated opportunity for Matt Ryan in the passing game. And there was an article in the offseason by Frank Reich, the head coach for the Colts, and was saying that like they had Carson Wentz. They didn't really trust him to open it up and throw the ball a lot, and they had Jonathan Taylor, beasting it out. So like for them to pass the ball didn't make as much sense. I think they want to get into more things this year. And we got Michael Pittman Jr., Nyheim Hines, Mo Ali Cox, the rookie Alec Pierce, Paris Campbell. There's a couple of good options there. Let me see. Yeah, yep. Let me see. I like McKissick at this point. Yeah, there's a lot of those PPR backs. JD McKissick, a guy like Nyheim Hines. There's some guys later in the draft that I like as well. I'm trying not to give my hand on my next coming picks with you guys, but thoughts on Williams, the Lions offense. Jamal's purely a handcuff. Like he's going to get touches, but he really won't be entering our starting lineups unless DeAndre Swift gets hurt. So I think Justin took DeAndre Swift. Let me see, Team Justin here. You took DeAndre Swift, so there's more incentive to cover your bet there with a guy like Jamal Williams. I think that's the only way we would use him. But some of the running backs I like at this point, again, J.D. McKissick. I like taking flyers on some of the rookies. Isaiah Spiller. Gus Edwards might be the starter week 1. Jerick McKinnon, another pass-catching back. Look at McKinnon's numbers, though. Oh, week 18, he had the 14-point game, but he was actually their leading running back in the playoffs for those 2 games. The rookie will. Oh, okay. Jameson Williams is not on my draft board this year. I don't think he's going to be relevant for redraft. He's not going to be participating in training camps yet. Again, he tore his ACL in that championship in the college playoff, and that's going to put him out. Usually 9 months after that. So he's not going to be practicing until September. Which means he's out September, maybe out October. We might not see him till November. And I just think at that point, I don't want to roster a guy for half the season and lose my spot there. So I'm kind of out. I'd rather take DJ Chark over Jameson Williams at ADP. I think that makes more sense. So I missed out on a couple guys. Let me just double check here and see who's all available. Hunter Henry, Dawson Knox, Noah Fant. I'm going to lock in Dawson Knox. And with that play, I have Gabe Davis. I have Dawson Knox. We'll see which Buffalo Bills receiver is the play there, but I think collecting Knox makes a lot of sense for me. I still like Irv Smith down here. I didn't get him. Probably should have waited on Irv Smith. And yeah, there's some running backs that I like here. We mentioned Gus Edwards, McKinnon, Rashad White, Kenneth Gainwell. Some fun players down here down the list. Yeah, Knox in the 11th is a little stupid. And I mean, it's at that point, if you don't get Kelsey or one of the top 5 tight ends, give me Dawson. Give me a guy that can, catch 4 balls in a game and has a 50-50 shot at a touchdown. And Dawson Knox is one of those guys. You want to attach yourself to a team that's going to throw a lot of touchdowns. So I'm feeling pretty good about Dawson Knox locked in there. And I just want to filter by all positions. Kirk Cousins is still on the board. I don't get it. I can't believe it. Tight ends, though. Look at the tight ends. Irv Smith, David Njoku. I don't know which one I want to take. I'm going to go ahead and take Irv Smith here because I have a lot of good vibes about the Vikings passing offense. I didn't get a Viking on my team. And now at this point, I got Aaron Jones. I got Elijah Mitchell. I have Nyheim Hines on the bench. I'm probably going to finish my draft with 2 high upside running backs here, maybe some rookies. Again, I got a lot of running backs, check marked here, and, some good things could happen. So I'll probably just, again, one of my favorite strategies is just locking in these rookie running backs or these guys that could be the number 2, but all they need is an injury and they get some opportunity to show what they can do. So I'm open to loading up my last 2 or 3 picks with some running backs. And if you play defense in kickers, one of the best defenses just went in the Packers. I think they're going to be a surprise this year. The Saints have a good defense as well. Don't know if I trust the Ravens, but definitely Buffalo. Those are some of the top defenses available. Cowboys, they have themselves a pretty stable defense. You look at what they did. They're the number 1 defense in fantasy football last year. Tampa Bay, I just want to pick teams that are going to win games. Basically, that's kind of all I care about for my defense. But I'm in a league where I don't really use defenses, so that's why I don't really pay much attention to them. And it looks like Rashad White went. He was one of the guys that I checked here. Matt Boehm. God dang it, Matt Boehm. Got a sleeper tight end. At this point, like the tight ends that are like David Njoku is the sleeper tight end. At this point of the draft, like they franchise tagged him, they paid him, like top tight end money. And I know even if it's Jacoby Brissett really can't stretch the field. He's going to be looking for Njoku early and often. So I think that is probably the sleeper tight end at this point, round 13. David Njoku, are you kidding me? Otherwise, like Gerald Everett, he's going to be Justin Herbert's tight end 1. I like that. And then I got one more sleeper for you. It's going to be Austin Hooper, just because I don't know if I can trust. Like Robert Woods and Treylon Burks are projected to be the top 2 wide receivers, but Ryan Tannehill's already been talking up Austin Hooper, who don't forget, Austin Hooper was a damn good tight end for Matt Ryan back in that Falcons offense. And Tennessee's always been a pretty friendly tight end offense, so that's kind of a guy that I have been coming around to, but those are some of my favorite tight ends to draft late. Robert Tonyan, too. Like, there's a legit chance for Tonyan to lead the Packers in receiving touchdowns. Even more receivers has them. Okay, let me see what I can get here. I gotta draft my running backs here. I'm gonna go ahead and David Njoku should be picked. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Isaiah Spiller here, and that's more of just Isaiah Spiller. There's going to be room for him to get work, whether it's 5 or 6 touches per game. But if anything happens to Austin Eckler, like Isaiah Spiller's the guy. So that's more of an injury upside play. And Aiden saying, nah, even more a sleeper has some stands that have me convinced. So Albert O, I'm nervous about Albert O because all I've been reading about the last week is the rookie that the Broncos took, Greg Dulcich, who they had him practicing with the ones all minicamp. So they already have him potentially being in a committee with Albert O. So I'm kind of pumping the brakes on Albert O. But man, I might have a potential starting running back here. If you guys want sleeper running backs, we don't know if J.K. Dobbins is going to be on the pup list to start the year. So I'll take Gus Edwards, see what happens. But yeah, as far as sleeper tight ends, I'm open to Albert O. And yeah, Greg Dulcich, like Albert O's problem is he's not a very good downfield tight end. He's a great red zone tight end. So like if there's going to be a guy that catch a touchdown in the red zone, it's probably Albert O. But it sounds like they want to get Greg involved in on the fast track right away because they're excited about Russell Wilson's deep ball. So there's probably some potential for a little bit of both guys there. It's not Albert O though. Yeah, I wish I could see more of the tight ends available here, but did David Njoku get picked yet, guys? Yeah, round 13. That's probably the value. I think David Njoku and if Deshaun Watson's going to play sooner than later, that might be one of the best picks that you can make. But we'll go ahead and pick our defense here. I'm surprised the Cowboys are still available. The Colts, those are the top 2 defenses available. I wouldn't mind a team like the Browns or the Chargers. Even the Patriots are always a well-coached team. So we'll see what we can do here. My favorite kicker got picked already, Daniel Carlson. And I just want to say, if you guys are hanging out, unsubscribe, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video, that helps grow the channel as well. We're in the thick of it, getting ready for the 2022 fantasy football season. So I just want to help you guys and share more thoughts to the good fantasy community. So let's go ahead and the Colts defense, where were they? Last year, they're top 10 defense. They get to play the Jags. They get to play the Titans. They get to play the Texans. I think I'll just land with the Indianapolis Colts there, which I think a lot of people are probably excited about the Colts this year. I think Matt Ryan, that was a good take by Matt Boehm there at the beginning of the show. But we'll finish up with a kicker here. Kind of the same thing. I just want to attach myself to a good offense. Jake Elliott, Cade York, Robbie Gould. I'm going to get the Minnesota guy. The Minnesota kicker was the number 6 kicker last year, and we're expecting them to score more points. They're also, indoors. So I'll go ahead and take a flyer on Greg Joseph. And that is the draft. So we'll recap the gang's team. Let's start with Aiden. I'm going to start with Justin because his draft is already wrapped up. He's got Russell Wilson, great pick. Swift and Dillon to load up the running back room. Mike Williams, A.J. Brown, Travis Kelce, Tyler Lockett. This seems like a really high boom team. Browns, Graham Gano, whatever. But look at the bench. Look at all the running backs. Tony Pollard, Melvin Gordon, Carter, That's Jamal Williams. Yep. Alexander Madison, Tua, and Gallup. So a little bit light on receiver. Mike Williams, AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett to hold down the fort, but he can pull up one of these running backs at any time. So I love running backs on my bench. You want to hoard RBs on your bench. Let's take a peek here at what Matt Boehm did. He's got Joe freaking Burrow, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. So that's a lot of touches. Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. I love that. Dalton Schultz, Brandon Cook. So this is a really well-rounded starting lineup here. I don't see any weaknesses. On the bench, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, McKissick, Rashad White, Hurst, Justin Fields. Really good draft by Matt Boehm here. This is one of the more well-balanced approaches that we see. We got Aiden Tobin here. He ended up with Matt Ryan as his QB1, so that's awesome. Jonathan Taylor and Matt Ryan, so he's all in on the Colts. But Javonte and Jonathan Taylor is a hell of a 1-2 punch. T. Biggins, Darnell Mooney, Jelani Woods. Oh my goodness, this is probably the one take I don't love, unless he goes out and beats Mo Ali Cox in training camp here. We'll see what happens. But Jelani Woods, typically rookie tight ends just don't do it. Kyle Pitts even, he scored 1 touchdown last year, 1,000 yards, but you're talking about one of the rare unicorns being a top 5 draft pick at tight end. So you're probably going to want another tight end here. I like ETN in the flex, Mike Thomas, Robert Wood, Lazard, Patrick. I love the bench depth at receiver. And then Marlon Mack and Algier. These are some good lottery cards in your back pocket. And then let me just recap mine real quick. At the top, I got Jalen Hurts. He's my QB4 on the season. Aaron Jones, Elijah Mitchell to hold down the RB for it. But the receivers, Jamar Chase, Michael Pittman Jr., and Courtland Sutton. We'll throw in Dawson Knox in there as well. And then on the bench, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Chris Olave. Running backs, Nyheim, Hines, Isaiah Spiller, Gus Edwards, and Irv Smith there. So that was a fun way to end the draft here, just targeting some late-round running backs. Getting Irv Smith on the bench is cool. And let me see what we got here. I've heard he's freaky and has great hands. He's a big dude. I think for dynasty leagues, I'm very interested in Jelani Woods. I'm nervous about to go in. You probably want one more tight end paired with him, and let maybe use one tight end the first month and let Jelani Woods prove it. But yeah, good draft all around for everybody. And again, we'll be doing this next Thursday night. If you guys want to participate, just come a little early. I usually set these for 7 p.m. Central Time. Just come hang out. I'll put the lobby link in there, and you guys can draft with us, and we'll keep an eye on you guys. Woods got drafted before McBride. No, McBride I thought was the first one off the board, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. But anyways, this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for your time. Again, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you are new, and have a good rest of your evening. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.